What if the Montreal Canadiens, sitting on a gold mine of young talent and future potential, were tempted to throw it all away on a petty vendetta that could cripple their financial flexibility for years to come? That's the dangerous game general manager Ken Hughes is reportedly playing right now, as whispers in the media suggest the Habs are considering a blockbuster move to acquire Nazem Kadri from the Calgary Flames, not for strategic reasons, but to send a spiteful message to their arch-rival, the Toronto Maple Leafs. The proposed deal, swapping the underperforming Patrick Lane and his $8.7 million cap hit for Kadri, a 35-year-old veteran with a $7 million annual contract through 2029, might sound like a Hollywood revenge plot. Bring in a former Leafs heart and soul player who won a Stanley Cup elsewhere and rub it in Toronto's face at the Bell Center. But this is a movie script. It's the NHL, where the salary cap is a merciless overlord and emotional decisions lead straight to bankruptcy. This isn't a trade rumor. It's a potential self-sabotage of epic proportions. Let's cut to the core of this ego-driven trap with brutal honesty. The Canadiens are in an enviable position, with a youthful core of Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Uri Slavkovsky blossoming into a force, and prospects like Ivan Demidov and Lane Hutson waiting in the wings to elevate the franchise further. Their trajectory is upward, but cap space is the lifeblood of sustaining that growth, especially with key extensions looming. Enter Patrick Lane, a once promising acquisition whose $8.7 million contract has become a millstone after playing just 5 games this year, due to injuries and inconsistent impact. Hughes is desperate to offload him, reportedly willing to retain salary just to clear the books. The idea of swapping Lane for Kadri might seem like a way to shed that burden while gaining a gritty, experienced forward, but the numbers tell a different story. Kadri's $7 million cap hit, locked in until he's 38 years old, is a reinforcement. It's a long-term mortgage on a declining asset, one that could strangle Montreal's flexibility just as their contention window peaks. Now, let's dissect why Calgary is so eager to move Kadri, and why that should be a glaring red flag for the Habs. The Flames are in full rebuild mode, looking to shed veteran contracts and accumulate young assets or draft picks to reshape their future. Kadri, while still a capable player with a Stanley Cup pedigree from his 2022 run with Colorado, is no longer the dynamic, game-changing center he once was. At 35, his speed has waned, and his production, while solid, doesn't justify a $7 million annual commitment for another 4 years. His role has shifted toward a third-line checking center with occasional offensive bursts, a far cry from the top 6 force he was in Toronto or Denver. Calgary sees an opportunity to dump this contract on a team like Montreal, potentially even extracting additional assets in the process, and walk away as the clear winner. For the Habs to take on this deal would be to volunteer as the league's luxury retirement home, a role they can ill afford. Tactically, Kadri's fit with the Canadiens is questionable at best. Under Martin St. Louis, Montreal has built a system around speed, transition play, and relentless energy, attributes that a younger Kadri might have complemented, but which his current game struggles to match. His physicality and face-off prowess could add some grit to the middle six, and his playoff experience might provide a spark in high-stakes moments. But at what cost? His declining mobility risks slowing down a roster built for pace, and his defensive reliability isn't enough to offset the cap burden he brings. Meanwhile, Lane, for all his flaws, still possesses elite scoring potential if healthy, and his contract expires sooner than Kadri's, offering a cleaner exit in the summer if no trade materializes. Swapping one problem for a longer, costlier one isn't strategy. It's spite, and it's a direct threat to the Habs' carefully constructed rebuild. Let's talk about the justice of the NHL market, a ruthless mechanism that punishes short-sightedness with devastating precision. The karma of letting ego drive decisions will be stagnation for Montreal. The supreme punishment for taking on Kadri's contract just to kneel Toronto will be arriving at the moment to re-sign rising stars like Demidov or Hutson, only to find the cap space eaten up by a $7 million fourth liner in decline. The corporate justice of the league ensures that Calgary would emerge as the victor in this scenario, clearing their books of an aging veteran while potentially gaining young assets or picks from a desperate Habs team. In the NHL, emotional moves are a one-way ticket to regret, and Hughes cannot afford to let resentment play GM while the salary cap looms like a guillotine. From a cultural standpoint, this rumored pursuit is a slap in the face to Canadiens' identity. Montreal isn't just a hockey team. It's a legacy, a symbol of excellence and foresight for a fan base that demands nothing less. Making a trade purely to spite Toronto, a rival whose struggles should be irrelevant to the Habs' own path, cheapens that legacy. It suggests a front office more concerned with petty revenge and building a sustainable winner, a narrative that could erode trust among players and fans alike. The Bell Center faithful want a Stanley Cup, not a soap opera. They want decisions rooted in logic, not emotion, and taking on Kadri's contract for the sake of a message fails that test spectacularly. True victory over Toronto comes from outplaying them on the ice, not from childish provocations off it. Historically, the Canadiens have stumbled when they've let emotion override reason. Look at the early 2000s, when reactive trades and signings driven by short-term frustration often left the team saddled with bad contracts and no clear direction. Contrast that with the dynasty years of the 1970s, when Sam Pollock's cold, calculated moves, often ignoring public sentiment, built a juggernaut through draft picks and trades that prioritize long-term value. The lesson for Hughes is stark. Resentment doesn't win Stanley Cups. Discipline does. Letting Lane walk for free in the summer, while painful, is a far smarter play than locking the team into Kadri's albatross of a deal for the sake of a fleeting jab at a rival. Looking to the future, the implications of this potential trade are dire. If Hughes pulls the trigger on Kadri, he risks derailing the rebuild just as it's gaining steam, tying up cap space that will be critical for extending the young core and adding complementary pieces when the contention window fully opens. A $7 million commitment to a 35-year-old through 2029 could mean missing out on a true impact player in 2 or 3 years, turning a promising roster into a cautionary tale of financial mismanagement if he walks away. Preserving cap flexibility even if it means enduring Lane's contract for a few more months. He positions Montreal to strike when the market aligns with their timeline, ensuring the team's brightest days aren't dimmed by a rash decision made in the heat of deadline pressure. There's also the psychological angle to consider. Kadri, a proven competitor, might relish the chance to stick it to Toronto, but his age and contract length suggest diminishing returns on that fire. Meanwhile, Lane's presence, while frustrating, is a shorter-term issue, and offloading him at a discount or letting him expire offers a cleaner slate than absorbing Kadri's long-term burden. The locker room, already buoyed by the energy of youth, doesn't need a veteran whose primary appeal is symbolic revenge. It needs players who fit the system and the budget, building towards sustained success rather than a fleeting headline. So, I'm handing the decision to you. If you were Kent Hughes, would you take on Nazem Kadri's $7 million cap hit through his age 38 season, just to unload Patrick Lane now and provoke Toronto with a symbolic middle finger, even at the risk of sabotaging your long-term financial health? Or would you swallow the bitter pill of Lane's remaining months, let him walk for free in the summer, and safeguard your cap space for the future, prioritizing a Stanley Cup over petty rivalries? This isn't just about a trade. It's about discipline, legacy, and the fine line between strategy and self-destruction. Drop your take in the comments, and let's debate whether the Canadiens should chase a hollow victory or stay the course toward true greatness. The Bell Center demands clarity, and with the deadline hours away, there's no room for emotion to cloud judgment.